more than ever, if you're an independent filmmaker, independent storyteller, you have the tools available to you that are changing and growing and getting better by the second to do pretty much almost anything and create your own way, which is very different than when I first started. I was always asking, begging, and pleading, but if you can just learn and continue to grow day by day, you can do anything now.
Welcome to the Culture FYI'RS Podcast. Culture FYI'RS is a creative collaboration meetup held weekly at the FYI Campus in Los Angeles. Each week, we feature a fireside chat with a guest, showcase projects being worked on by members of the FYI community, and share product updates for FYI.AI, the creative collaboration app co-founded by will.i.am and available for free download in the App Store and Google Play. FYI.AI is powered by AI personas like me, Fito. Each week, this podcast showcases conversations held at the Culture FYI'RS event. This week, we are joined by Monty Marsh, a dynamic filmmaker and creative innovator with a rich background in both the entertainment and nonprofit sectors. In a captivating conversation with FYI Chief Growth Officer Julie Pilat, Monty shares his inspiring journey from modeling and film finance to directing and producing, all while emphasizing the importance of community engagement and empowerment. Monty recounts his early days in North Carolina, his decision to pursue modeling, and how a chance opportunity led him to the world of film finance, where he played a crucial role in projects like the acclaimed film Frida. He discusses the evolution of the film industry, drawing parallels between the current state of Hollywood and the music industry's transformation during the Napster era. Monty highlights the democratization of storytelling, where independent creators now have unprecedented access to tools and resources to bring their visions to life.
My friend Andrew Gold, who does publishing at Rock Nation, told me I needed to meet this amazing artist, a visual artist, Helene Flowers, who I'm a big fan of. And he was going to SOLA for a tour. So they invited me down and I saw it. And when I went to the Beehive and met everyone from SOLA, I've been volunteering in South Central since I moved here in the early 2000s. And I was blown away by the mission and the programs. And I took in so much information and took pictures and videos because I wanted to tell everybody about it, that it actually was like the first project I made on FYI. And I would send it to everybody. So we've got a vintage FYI project. And then a couple weeks ago, we were at Culture FYI'RS, and I got invited to this dinner and then got a text, said, bring somebody. So I brought Mo, but it was a long day. I wasn't really that excited to go to a dinner. And then I got to the dinner and they were going around and doing intros. And Monty said he was from SOLA. And I was like, I love SOLA.
Like immediately.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, I'm saying I'm really excited you're here today, but I'm really, really excited you're here today and for everybody to connect in. In fact, when he walked in, I said, I'm not even going to talk to you because I have too many questions. I'll just start talking to him about them right now. I think everything that you actually have done and how you came to SOLA is really interesting. I think the business behind SOLA is super interesting. And then, of course, what you're building with the studios is really important. And I think a lot of people are going to want to get involved. But let's start. I want to hear a little bit more about your backstory.
All right, everybody, buckle up. I have a degree in economics, and I'm from North Carolina, deep South. And I decided I wanted to not go to Wall Street. I had an opportunity to go to Wall Street, and I wanted to model because Tyson Beckford was modeling, and everybody stopped me and was like, you should model. Sure, let's try it. So I ended up going to Atlanta, to Miami, Chicago, fell in love with all the things modeling until I hit that winter. And then I was like, we're going to go ahead and go over to LA. But in that process, I was offered a job to raise money for a film financier who had just financed What Women Won't. And they basically bought the German territory rights for $5 million, made $80 million.
Wow.
So they're like, we're in the business. And so I basically was developing business. I went to Wall Street, got $50 million, matched their 50. They kept 30. We had a whole production slate. One of the notable films that you may or may not have seen was Frida. But at that time, Jennifer Lopez was attached. So I'm literally as a model, now working in film finance and at the Four Seasons at Cannes, where everybody wants to meet me because I have German money.
And I mean, that's so crazy to think how much the business has changed, right? I don't know the film side as well as I know the music side, but like even 15 years ago, people used to get signed to record labels by territories. Yeah. I don't know. Does everybody know that? Like, I mean, there's a handful of OGs. So right. But I mean, it's pretty crazy. You could take a group and they could be signed to Interscope in the US, but Sony in Australia.
Yep.
And then, somebody else in Germany. So you were doing film financing specifically for Germany.
Correct.
And Germany had a lot of money?
Yes, lots and lots of money. And the company that I was working for was so big, it had 3 CEOs at the time.
Wow.
And they had pretty much every vertical as it relates to post-production, production, they were touching some way. And then September 11th happened and they said, oh, you know what? We're good. We're going to leave. And so I'm in LA now with no job. Mm-hmm. I did know at that point that I wanted to be a director. I wasn't sure how I was going to do that. And a friend of mine was like, just go be a PA. And so my first PA job was Britney Spears' Toyota commercial when Britney was up here. And I had a chance to be introduced to every aspect of film. And I just worked my way up from production assistant to coordinator. I loaded cameras with film, and for 16 years, I was a local 399 Teamster for locations. And then I got into producing and directing, and then I owned my own production company.
That's crazy. And then, you had your own production company. What I love after the short time of getting to know you is I feel like there's this always learning spirit about you, right? So you were on the top of the game with modeling. You were on top of the game with film financing. Then you wanted to learn, perfect the craft, and start doing it yourself. You had your own production company. Now, you were just telling me, because we have the new XR stage on the FYI Campus, that you went to a conference. You've been learning about that. What's the gap in the middle? How did you cross over to the nonprofit sector?
Basically, I created a film for a mutual friend, my boss, Sherry. Her son stood up during George Floyd, the time with BLM, and spoke out and was like, I'm a young black man living in Huntington Beach, and I have questions and I have comments and I have concerns. And he made this speech and it got all the way to Alicia Keys and Nickelodeon, and she interviewed him. And I saw that and I was like, oh my God, a 12-year-old boy has to think about these things. He's losing his innocence by the second. I wonder what that's like. So I met with him, we interviewed, we did all the things, communicated, and I made a film about it. And the film is literally what was in his head when he was writing the speech before he gave it. And so that's how I was connected to Sherry. And then over time, Sherry learned about me, and she's, doing all these great things at the foundation. And she was like, I have this crazy idea. I want to build a studio. You want a job? And I was like, sure, let's give it a try. And I'm so glad I made that move.
Okay, so before we jump into what's going on site, let's talk a little bit more about what's happening in film right now.
Yes.
I think it's interesting because in some ways I feel like Hollywood is where music was in the Napster era, right? Mm-hmm. Everything's currently being deconstructed. And it's really obvious to me if Adam wanted to make a song, he could just go to TuneCore, DistroKid, upload it, and it would go to all DSPs. But what do you see happening currently in film? And like even that project you made with Sherry's son, where can we see it?
Can't see it anywhere only because I got so many hookups on the film and I had to deal with so many record labels and distribution. And they were like, oh yeah, you can have it for free during the festival run. But after the festival run, and I just never went back because there were so many other projects that I was working on. And I'm going to figure that out because you're like the 19th person that's asked that.
Well, maybe we could just put in an FYI project and then you could add us as guests, and as needed, people could.
Can totally do that.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Totally.
And then any other thoughts on the business?
Yes, I believe right now we're going through a democratization or decentralization of the business. And more than ever, if you're an independent filmmaker, independent storyteller, you have the tools available to you that are changing and growing and getting better by the second to do pretty much almost anything and create your own way, which is very different than when I first started. I was always asking, begging, and pleading. But if you can just learn and continue to grow day by day, you can do anything now, like literally anything, because the business is upside down, and that is ripe for opportunity, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I love digging in on this information because even though I'm so excited to talk about the philanthropy and the foundation work you do, we have filmmakers in the audience, and I know this is going to be really helpful to them. What are your thoughts on some of the new tools that are available, whether it's Google's VO3, the AI tools, or, we were saying you're one of the only people I know that's been to an XR conference that I know about.
Very early on, I've always been intrigued by technology and how that will enhance storytelling and the workflow. I was the first to direct a live VR music video.
And who was that for?
That was for Dawn Richard with Danny DeCane. So that was super interesting. And then we kind of went into interactive. So I've always tried to push the boundaries of storytelling. I hacked a Connect box to do mocap when I couldn't afford to go on the stage. And we turned dancers into diamonds and obsidian. So everything that I do is generally connected to technology some way. So today, fast forward, literally there's an app where you can do mocap and you don't have to do anything. So to figure out what you want to say, you can have the AI create the story, and then you can build your world. Something that I'm very interested in now is, what is your world? Anyone can tell a story, but only you can create your world. And that is where I'm living right now. For example, I'm working on a film that I'm writing, and this world is happening 50 years from now. And it's been fun just wondering, like, the melanin technology, what does that do to the plants if my AI bot has that as a humanoid? And what does that look like? And what are the hues? And so you have this creativity to create something that's in your mind. And that's your intellectual property that no one can duplicate. And so I'm literally trying to harness that. But then in terms of the tools, there's so many tools now that when you have an idea, not only will it generate your outline, but then you can say, hey, let's go develop the characters. And developing the characters is more than just the characteristics. It's also going to physically, I want to change the hair. I want the eyes to be green. I want this. So you're doing that in real time. And then you say, okay, now let's animate it. So my storyboards now take an hour.
Wow.
It's unfortunate because there are a lot of storyboard artists that are now out of jobs, but I don't think AI is going to take your job. It's only going to employ people who know how to use the tools better.
If you're interested in checking out like a glimpse to the future, I got to shout out Kevin from Uprocks is here. It's really cool. Uprock Studios just launched the first music video live performance from the XR stage at the FYI Campus. You can check it out online with Gunna. And it's funny, there's also an interview with Will. And I say some people do interviews next to tiny desks. Will and Gunna look like they're in a portal. As far as any other content you recommend if people are interested in some of these new tools or things to watch, I saw something really interesting years ago that you reminded me of when you said building our universe. When somebody first told me to get an Oculus, they told me, I'm not a big gamer. But they told me to get this thing. It wasn't a game. It was a story called There Are Wolves in Our Walls. Mm-hmm. It was so freaky. Mm-hmm. And it was a story it was immersive storytelling that you became a part of, like going around this house and stuff.
I would say something I need to do more research on this weekend, which is on my list of things to do. Check out Lucasfilms. I was at this XR event and they believe the future of storytelling is story living. So Snap, they have their new spectacles. XR had their new glasses. We're constantly doing this wearable technology. For example, if we all had our glasses on, we could see different stories and different characters where the spaceship would come down, Yoda would get out. And because it's, agentic AI, I could have a conversation with Yoda. Yoda could go have a conversation with you, learn from both of us, and then go have a conversation over here. And then take all of that and then talk to you. So it's really about this technology learning from us and then evolving to help tell the story in real time.
I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities to have some fun.
I do too.
With this. Okay, so now let's talk about, this is where I had to walk away from you while you were at the pickle station.
Shout out to the pickle.
Because I was thinking about this all weekend. I just read a book. It was a really fascinating book, Stealing Home. The story about the creating of Dodger Stadium and what happened in Chavez Ravine. And it was really fascinating because, what I learned was there was a man in Los Angeles named Frank Wilkinson who was really passionate about public housing and equity. And he had this vision to build out projects as this utilitarian lifestyle and feature so everybody could have affordable housing. And he actually got put in jail and he was accused of being a communist.
Oh, wow.
And then all this housing was built. They shouted out Estrada Courts from Boyle Heights a lot in the book, which was interesting because that was where Will grew up. But it made me really interested. And then the government didn't fulfill the promise to keep up the projects. And it ended up becoming an isolated area of poverty, right? But now if you do that a total 180, what I think is really fascinating is SOLA is actually a for-profit business. Can you talk a little bit about the real estate company?
Absolutely. SOLA Impact is the largest private affordable housing developer in the state of California. We've got buildings all around South LA, and we literally are evolving along with the nonprofit in the sense we started just acquiring buildings, fix them up. But these buildings are old already, so the cost to maintain and keep them up was eating into our profit. So then they were like, okay, let's just buy the land, tear everything down, and build it up. Still expensive. So now what we're doing is our founder, Martin Moto, he went into Watts, found the empty factory, found people who were employed in the neighborhood, and created what we're calling our Models Evocation training. And we're training how to build container homes, if you will, or prefab homes. And so now that costs about $800,000-$900,000 per unit, but we figured out how to do it for less than $200,000 while training our community how to build these things. And so now we are dealing with HUD and trying to make this more official and more efficient so we can get more people in these housing, better housing, and a more efficient way of stacking them on top of each other. So right now we've got, everything in warehouses waiting to be deployed.
I just thought, as somebody that has volunteered in South Central for a really long time, there's a lot of people that will victimize underserved neighborhoods and say like, oh, we're going to give you this free thing. Like, oh, we're going to help out, do a food drive. All important, right? But what I was really impressed by with SOLA was the quality of the units that they're putting together. And like, it wasn't separate.
Right.
It wasn't like, here's our for-profit business, and then, oh, we're going to write a check to City of Hope over here. Like together, they said, okay, we're building these buildings, and how can we lift up our neighborhoods? Because if you actually go to South Central, to the campus, the Beehive, that is like nothing I have ever seen in my life. It kind of is right on par with the FYI Campus. And I'm not even exaggerating. Will you explain a little bit what's happening there and how long it's been around and what kind of support you're getting?
So the Beehive, if you've not been to Everyday People or Black Market Flea or First Fridays or the Oxtail Cook-Off, the Beehive from an event standpoint is what we're saying and what we think is the premier place for culture, Black and brown culture. We're not even talking about going inside the buildings. We're just talking about the courtyard, all the areas that are available. Our community comes to us and they put on their events and they facilitate their event-based businesses. Inside, when you go into the campus, it's the old Goodyear track. So it's like 6 acres and all of these old school buildings that have been retrofitted. So we've got one building that's strictly for profit. We've got a tech center that's the nonprofit. And that particular tech center is powered by Riot Games. So you go in there, there's all these gaming consoles. There's a creative lab where we teach beat making. We teach graphic arts. We teach Unreal Engine. If you go on the other side, there's a whole maker space that was built in collaboration with Howmet Aerospace and USC's Aveen Young Academy, where the kids can go in there and sew, make things. I'm working right now to turn it also into a sneaker academy. So you learn AI-driven sneaker academy where you learn how to design, you learn the business, you learn the culture, then you deconstruct the shoe, and then you construct your shoe, and then you walk out with your own shoe. And everything that we're doing in that building is all about pipelines to placement, training, mentorship, and real-world experience. So if you keep going through the building, on the right, there's going to be a Live Nation Next Gen room where the kids can go jam out, they can play music, but there's also a program thinking about pipelines where we teach a cohort of 20 every semester how to put on their own festival, booking, writers, legal contracts, all the things, and then they put on their own festival at the Beehive. So that's that real world experience. And then they go to Live Nation, they intern, and they get jobs. Everything we do is placement. And the final big room in the back is a gaming esports theater, really, where you can do stuff like this, or you can have gaming competition. So we're working with LAUSD right now to be an official spot for their gaming.
Yeah, I mean, definitely make some noise for all of that. You know, super crazy is we were talking the other day, and then one of my friends, Lala Romero, she's got this company, Belladonna. She came in and she said she's run an event for a long time called Scam and Jam. And she said, but you know what the hottest thing is you have to go to? You have to go to this First Fridays at the Beehive. And I was like, wait, at the nonprofit spot? And then she pulled up the Instagram. It's like the hottest club night in town.
It's popping, yes.
That is insane. So I want to remind everybody, if you have any questions for Monty about film or giving back or what's happening at SOLA, go ahead and drop them into the discussion of the project and drop them right away, because otherwise I'll just keep talking.
FYI is an AI-powered messenger and productivity platform crafted for creatives and their teams. Focus your ideas with your collaborators using an encrypted messenger, develop your vision, utilizing media-rich project tools, and bring those ideas to life by sharing them with the world. With the AI personas in the FYI app serving as your creative co-pilots, you can ask FYI.AI to draft stories, song lyrics, product descriptions, marketing copy, or any written content, and see the results within seconds. Download FYI today for free. Now available in the App Store and on Google Play.
I wanted to ask first, if people want to go check out the work you're doing and get a tour and see what's happening down there at SOLA in South Central, what's the best way to get involved?
Hit me up.
Okay, that was easy. I really recommend everybody go down there, because there will be a time, there will be a place you'll need, what'd you say, field trip? Wouldn't be the first time, won't be the last, all right? We definitely can do that with FYI. And then it was a total tease, because I heard they were opening a campus more west. And right by my kids' elementary school, a big sign went up that said SOLA West. And I was like, we've hit the jackpot.
Yeah.
And then I saw it said SOLA West Jewish Foundation. I was like, that's not it. But you are expanding.
We are expanding, and I'm super...
And are we giving that place a cease and desist on the name?
No, it's all love. Although I might be like, hello. Yes, we are opening our second campus in Crenshaw, 46 in Crenshaw, right across from Leimert Park, Destination Crenshaw. And I'm super excited about this, because this is our arts, media, entertainment, technology, and innovation campus powered by Live Nation. We're going to have a full recording studio in there, full virtual production studio, full live venue, AI lab, creative lab, and a rooftop for events. And that for me is where I'll be most of the time now. And I'm building what we're calling SOLA Studios, which is all about filmmaking. It's all about all the things I just talked about. But again, it's the placement, it's the kids, it's the training, it's giving them the edge in terms of technology and the tools, something that I didn't have. So I'm very passionate about that. And yeah, we're opening it up to the community. So if you want to create something, you want to collaborate, again, hit us up.
What I think is really powerful about that is, you know, here's a real opportunity, is technology is changing so fast. So many people think if they're going to go volunteer, they need to put their angel wings on and go help. But guess what? It helps you too. Mm-hmm. And you just showing up, even if you don't know that much about the technology or the new tools, you just seeing a kid for their gifts, mm-hmm. or like being a witness or somebody that, you know, can ask them how their day is matters so much. But then you also can get exposure to testing the newest technology. What advice do you have for someone who is interested in the arts, but like might be a little intimidated by how fast these tools are coming along?
I would say find organizations and programs, because the more and more I have conversations with folks like my brother right here, everybody in our worlds are trying to give back in some form of fashion. So there are so many programs, and so much so we're kind of doubling up. So I'm trying to reach out to different organizations and see how we can consolidate, mm-hmm. to make it even more efficient. So there are tons of programs out there. You just got to do the research. And there's so many of us who are trying to bridge the gap and want to help.
Yeah, I think that's really powerful. And anything we can do to support your AI curriculum or technology, you know, you can count us in. So when you're world building, what's the first thing you do before even opening your laptop? That's what Howie wants to know.
To be honest with you, I don't even really open my laptop months after, but it takes months because I'm really trying to literally see every scene, every world. So for me, the first thing I'm thinking about is my main character and what journey is he or she about to go on? What are the obstacles? So it's still writing, but it's in a different way. You're just thinking about it. And so when I'm thinking, okay, my character needs to leave the nest. And when he leaves the nest, he doesn't have his power anymore because he has to go find his power to fight what it is that he's fighting against. That journey, what is that journey? Is it aquatic? Is it full of air? Is it green? So to me, that's like so much fun to just sit there and be a kid again and just dream. So it's really like just sitting down and closing your eyes and stepping away from this world and going into your own world.
Okay. Emily wants to know, in your journey to become a director, what were the life experiences and opportunities that contributed to your success and boundary pushing perspective?
The one thing I wish someone would have told me is, and everyone knows this, it's not what you know, it's who you know. But I think coming up in the South, being, traditional Southern Baptist Black family, it's like, I'm going to outwork everybody. I'm going to know everything. It doesn't matter. If I know everything, that doesn't matter because there are people getting jobs every day that don't know shit. Excuse my French. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Network, go to those dinners, make those calls, send those texts, because at the end of the day, if people like you, they're going to want to be around you. They're going to work with you. They want to collaborate, and you just grow as a group.
That's all true. Okay, there we go. Austin wants to know, what would you say makes your writing style unique compared to your peers? People are really digging in on your creative here. They really want to see that FYI project.
I love it. I like to do a lot of soul searching, so I don't really do stuff unless it makes me feel some kind of way and it helps me get things out to other people in an educational way while also entertaining. I think a good example of that is I did an Adidas commercial where I was so enamored and inspired by the first Black Panther. I was like, what would a Black Panther commercial look like? So I did the research and I found out about Moko Jumbies, and these are the stilt walkers that you see in Caribbean parades. And so that comes straight from slavery. And what that is they thought they were so high they could see the spirits and they could protect each other. So what I wanted to do was, all right, bet. So on Randall's Island, just outside of New York, there's all these monolithic stone, could be in another world. So I found a costume designer who actually built these costumes and had them in a museum. We pulled them out and had the stilt walkers from New Jersey come out, and I shot the traditional way of the Moko Jumbi against these stark locations. And then I went into VFX and had Time Warp pop up, and they came through, and then they had on Adidas, and they had all the Adidas Originals gear. And so they're dancing, and then I used the architecture, which is the lines, the reflections, the mirrors, to resemble modernity. And so for me, that's kind of how I like to be creative. It's like I'm gonna hit you with something that's dope and creative and looks cool, but under that, I'm really telling you about my history. I'm really telling you about the evolution of footwear. I'm telling you multiple things. And Adidas really does that anyway in a real cool way. So I'm always just trying to tell a story that's never been told, but making it commercial enough so you can receive it.
Wow. Monty Marsh, I think we need your link in bio so we can check out the whole portfolio. Yeah. Okay. Where do you see technology going and the biggest shifts coming up in regarding to media and impact?
Where I hope it goes is niche platforms, niche social media. If you're interested in green turf, I feel like there's going to be a bunch of green turf filmmakers and storytellers that will come together and find their own audience and speak directly to their own audiences, transact with their own audiences. So I'm hoping and praying that it does that because it moves all the noise out. And if you're a consumer, I already know I want the green turf, so let me find the green turf. I don't have to go through all the noise. So I think it's going to be more succinct, more purposeful, and more niche.
And that doesn't stress you out at all? I mean, you said tune out the noise, but I think that it's already so harmful just to be living in our own bubble.
It doesn't, because I find myself, I don't know if I'm on Instagram, I'm definitely doom scrolling, but when I'm doom scrolling, when I see something that I like, I put it in the save and then I go spend time with that. And I'm seeing everything that I save tends to be technology, tends to be storytelling, tends to be hot women. So let's find that and let's just stay there.
Yeah. All right. Lily wants to know, how do you balance spending time on your creative work versus nonprofit impact work?
Zero balance. I got to figure that out. Because of my career being an independent, I work every day, all day. So that's just kind of what I do. I need to get better on the balance part, but I'm trying to time block now, and so that's helped me, from this time to this time, you're only working on this, you're only working on that. And on Sundays, no work. You got to do something physical. You got to do something social. You got to do something, go eat some good food. And I'm literally a month in. So TBD.
What's the latest restaurant recommendation for the good food?
I have two. It's Ruin Par, but it's Thai in Thai Town, right off of Hollywood Boulevard, just east of Western. The best Thai. The entire strip mall is all Thai. And I went to Thailand, actually, to see if it was better. Mm-hmm. It's better here.
Wow.
It's better here,
Okay.
Yeah.
You said you had two, though.
Open Sesame on Beverly. They have this drink called the Catalina, and it's non-alcoholic, but it's the best drink I've ever had in my life.
Ooh, okay. I like a mocktail.
Yeah.
Okay, last two. Oliver Last Name wants to know, how do you see AI filmmaking impact financing for film?
I think it's going to be a lot easier, only because the previs and all of the prep work is so easy to do. Like, you can literally almost have a whole animated prep to show the investor. So by the time you've done all that work, the investor knows if they want to invest in this or you by looking at that. Whereas just to get storyboards can cost you $1,000 back in the day. So I think that previs and all this preparatory work, kind of like what Alfred Hitchcock used to do. Like, Alfred Hitchcock was like, by the time you get to set, everyone should know everything. There should be no questions. You just go do it. And you leave a little room for creativity, but he does so much prep. And that's been my philosophy. Like, let's prep the hell out of this. So when we get there, we can have fun and be creative.
I never knew that. That's what Alfred Hitchcock stood for. And Michael wants to know, AI, should actors, directors, writers be scared? And will we be seeing AI production studios that will make movies, TV, animation, etc.? Are schools behind on teaching this technology?
3 questions. Schools are definitely behind. We're all behind in the education, and I'm trying. I look forward to working with Lily on that very thing.
Should people be scared?
I don't think so. If you're not willing to do the work and kind of ride this wave, yeah, you should be scared. But I also think AI is not going to take your job. A person knowing AI is going to take your job. So jump in, learn how to do it, have fun. The industry is changing. We're not going back. It's never going to be the same. And I've cried for about 6 months about this, but I've embraced it now, and it's actually really fun. And the barriers are down here. So embrace it.
Favorite AI apps for your creativity?
There's so many. I like 11 Labs for the voices. I like VO3. I like Midjourney and their new model. Those are the main ones. In terms, obviously ChatGPT, Claude, VEO, it's Google's third. ChatGPT for all of the kind of numbers, quantitative stuff, but I like Claude, but Claude is more creative. So I always go to Claude first.
Very interesting. I love this. We covered so much ground. I mean, clearly everyone connected with your personal history on film production and how you came up with the creativity. The story about SOLA completely blows me away. And I love not only turning people on to what's happening in South Central, but that the new studios are coming and there's so many opportunities. I guess as we wrap up, what do you want people to know?
I will say this, the future is yours today. I never have I felt so empowered, just because those who are normally empowered have no idea what's really going, and they're trying to catch up. And this is the first time since the .com boom that we actually have a say that we can take this and get ahead of the game. So when they say seize the day, carpe diem, do that right now. It's on you.
All right, make some noise for Monty Marsh.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Culture FYI'RS Podcast. Make sure to download the FYI app, available now in the App Store and Google Play. Check out this episode's notes for a project link to this Culture FYI'RS event, including a look at more projects from the FYI community. This episode's Culture FYI'RS event was produced by FYI co-founder will.i.am, Amina Mohammed, Emily Choi, Frankie Sandoval, Jafet Chavez, Julie Pilat, Marcus Nielsen Calling, Ronial Madlani, Sean Kantrowitz, Shania Jafari, the FYI product team, and of course the FYI community. The podcast is edited by Rob Van Vranken. Make sure to subscribe to Culture FYI'RS wherever you get your podcasts so that you never miss an episode. Learn more about FYI by visiting FYI.FYI.